And bing, just like that. I've got makeup on. All of you who don't like me wearing makeup, what can I say? Listen, this video is long overdue. I am going to, and I'm doing this for two reasons, because everything I do is to provide you with information that I think will be beneficial for you holistically. I'm not just about giving dates and, predictions and stories about my remote viewing and things like that, okay? The way I see this is a holistic approach to creating better human beings for the future. And that means taking charge of your health, your personal growth, your, how you live your life, and everything that encompasses. And that's how we build a better world. So one of the fundamental things that I think is like free healthcare is fasting. And there are a lot of people who have different views about this, but I have done this for years, okay, and with amazing results. And also in just myself, just recently, just in doing fasting on a semi-regular basis, even intermittent fasting, I'm not on any medication at 44 years of age. The test results that I've done, I've reversed conditions that I've had in my 30s, and I don't, my blood pressure is perfect, okay? It's fine, it's all good. My bloods are good. I've reversed whenever anything's cropped up in my life when I haven't fasted. So if I've got blood sugar issues or insulin issues, I start fasting and it reverses everything within a month or so, okay, a couple of months of doing it. So I'm going to tell you about fasting because I need to start fasting like properly, because let's just say Easter, holy shit. How much sugar did you eat? Because I don't usually eat a lot of sugar anymore. I really don't. Am I like rubbing my face because I'm lying? I don't know. I don't eat as much as I used to, and only when I go to my mother's house and they've got all this abundance of food, and then I feel like I'm sleepy after I eat, I go, fuck, I'm not used to that. I'm so not used to eating that food. I feel like I'm going to fall asleep, right? I had some kombucha and I thought that didn't contain much sugar, but man, that knocked me out. And I didn't even eat that much bad food. I was eating like a normal, well-rounded meal, and just had probably a bit more fruit than I normally do. And I was tired, and there was a little bit of chocolate, not too much, but there was a little bit. Now, this is where fasting comes in. So if you've had a huge amount of an overload of carbohydrates, and I know there's a lot of you out there who might be, say, vegan or fruitarian or low carb, a low fat, high carb, plant-based vegan or plant-based diet. Now, listen, I've done those for years and years, and it just didn't work. It's not good for me. It doesn't work for me. All right. The very high carbohydrate diets don't work for me. They really stuff me up, and I know this for myself. Juicing doesn't work for me. All those fruit juices and vegetable juices doesn't work for me. This is just that's my opinion. And you may find that if you've got some issues with hyperinsulinemia or insulinemia, or you crash after you have a lot of higher carbohydrate foods, or you're just not getting you're not getting the right results. And I did find also that a lot of those diets that had a lot of the mono type diets, like where they have a lot of one type of food, they try to discourage you from fasting. I'm going to say this. There are two types of people. There are abstainers and there are moderators, okay? And I'm an abstainer. Like I literally have to, I can't moderate anything. It's either all or nothing, right? I can't have like a little bit of sugar or a little bit of chocolate or a little bit of bread. It's like I got to eat the whole damn thing, right? Or I can't have, just a little bit of carbs. You know what I'm saying? I've got to go all out and do the full extreme. And that's where fasting comes in. Moderators, on the other hand, they're the kind of people that don't really have to monitor anything. They can have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they know how to stop. And that's just how they are. That's their personalities. And I'm just not like that. So fasting is the best tool for those of us who are abstainers, okay, who need to abstain from things. Otherwise we go, oh my God, you need to do all of it. Because what it does is it will deplete your glycogen stores from having a lot of, having consumed a lot of carbohydrates. So if you don't know the basics of human biology and what happens to you when you eat a lot of carbohydrates versus fats or proteins, you might need to do some research, and I will tell you the names and I'll put them in the links below on the experts that know all about this stuff, okay? But basically, let's put it in a very, very basic term. When we're talking about weight loss and healing the body, the main hormone at play is insulin. And insulin is a transporter of carbohydrates, and it stores these carbohydrates, supposed to store it in the cells for later use. So usually in the muscles for later use for energy. Any excess amount of carbohydrates is stored usually in the fat cells, okay, or liver, for later use. Now, if you are insulin resistant, which means that you've had a lifestyle where you've just been having way too much carbohydrates over the years, your cells start to become resistant to taking on board the insulin. Okay, so it can't actually use it. And this is why you crash and you get tired, like me. You get tired after eating a lot of carbohydrates or drinking alcohol or whatever. Your cells start to become resistant, and they don't take that on as energy anymore. And you don't become efficient at using carbohydrates like an athlete would. Athletes, marathon runners, they're really efficient at using that and burning it up, right? But then there's a lot of other people who are not very good at that, okay? So then you become insulin resistant. But what they found was that a lot of people, this is where the keto diet comes in, and I'm going to be a proponent of one thing or another. Do what suits you, okay? But this is where the ketogenic diet comes in. You will actually be using fat for fuel, and that includes stored fat, okay? And you'll be using ketones as fuel. I won't go into how ketones are produced. You can research that. But what we need to do is we need to use up all of the excess carbohydrates that are stored in the liver as glycogen in order for the body to then start using fat as fuel, okay? So if you're going to use fasting for fat loss, you've got to have a deficiency in sugar stored in your body in order for the body to tap in to the fat. Now, if you're on a high carb plant-based diet, it's an uphill battle trying to deplete those glycogen stores out of your liver before your body can actually use your stored fat as fuel, okay? You're always replenishing, when you eat again, you're replenishing those carbohydrates in your liver, and your body's just having to use the stored sugar as fuel, okay? So fasting is great when you've had a lot of carbohydrates like I did over the weekend. And the best thing to do when you've had a huge amount of carbohydrates is to probably do a fast for about 48 hours, at least 48 hours. Now, what do I mean by fasting? So people will talk about, an egg fast or a fruit juice fast, or they're just going to do some juicing and things like that. I'm talking about a water fast, and that includes electrolyte water as well, which would be something like snake juice, which I will go into. Now, why do we fast? What's the purpose of it? If you look to Dr. Jason Fung, his research, his books on it, he is a nephrologist, which is a kidney specialist, and he deals with people who are on dialysis after they've had diabetes. He's reversed diabetes in his patients, and he's used fasting as a tool to help people regain their health. Some of them on dialysis are not going to be able to be completely better because they've gone way too far and they've really wrecked their bodies, but fasting has helped them immensely. And he says that fasting is kind of like healthcare for free. Okay, it's a free kind of way of health, of having healthcare. He talks about how every religion has talked about fasting. There's a lot of various religions that practice it on a regular basis. In fact, I think on the 13th of April, Ramadan begins. Okay, and if you're a practicing Christian who does fasting or Lent before Easter begins, you would have fasted as well to some extent, and you may have just omitted certain things from your diet. Okay, so that's a type of fast. I know that, for example, I've got my auntie in Lebanon who's a very devout Christian. She's Catholic. She fasts on Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, so that's just her thing, and she thinks that this is what God wants, and she does that. Okay, so I'm not making fun, but that's what people do. Okay, so people do these things. Now, the reason why I advocate it is not just for weight loss. Okay, I, in my own experience, have found that the mental clarity that you get from fasting, which includes intuition, is heightened, super heightened. The energy that you get from fasting on a regular basis is dramatic. And once you get past that, the detox sort of process in the first couple of days, when if you've had a bad diet, once you get past that and you're in a very regular routine and you're fat adapted, which means that your body's now burning fat regularly and it's very good at doing that, you will be amazed at the benefits of fasting. That's why I want to talk about it and why I want to do this video. The other reason why I'm doing this video is so that I can be accountable to all of you, because if I kept this quiet and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do some fasting, I would go, fuck, there's an Easter bunny, chocolate bunny right there. I'm going to have some. And then I'm going to regret it and go, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, right? So now I'm putting a video up. I have to do it. Okay, so there's that. Now, the other reason why we do fasting is because there's a process called autophagy. And autophagy literally means that it's self-eating, okay? Auto and phagy. So phage means to eat, consume, and auto is self-eating. So what the body does is it eats up and uses as fuel all the junk that you've got in your body. So that includes free radicals, it includes excess skin, it includes excess proteins that might be floating around the blood, and it's the perfect way that your body cleans up the blood, okay? And it cleans up all of these toxins out of your system and also excess biological products in your system that are of no use, okay? It is the perfect way to regain health in so many ways, and you can use it in such a way that you can reverse diabetes by fasting. Doctors won't tell you that. You don't need medicine, but there are plenty of people out there showing this and proving this. There is actually a doctor I forgot to write down here, but I will mention him later. He's not alive anymore. They think that they killed him off. but I'll talk about him as well. But Dr. Jason Fung has discovered that people can reverse diabetes by fasting. Now, let's talk about autophagy. When does autophagy kick in? Now, first, let me explain. I forgot to write, I should have written them in my notes. When you are fasting and you want autophagy to work, so we're talking about reversing cancer, we're talking about reversing all sorts of health issues, you have to allow autophagy to kick in, which means no sucking on no chewing gum, no sucking on candy, no little flavor things in your water, no honey and apple cider vinegar, nothing, all right? Nothing that raises your insulin. Autophagy stops when your insulin is raised, okay? And insulin gets triggered when blood sugar gets raised, okay? Blood sugar is raised when you have either a carbohydrate or a protein, actually when you eat anything, really. Okay, so you've got to be very careful. There are a few exceptions that will not raise your blood sugar. Black coffee, black tea, herbal tea, as long as they're not flavored herbal teas with sweeteners or anything like that, like sweet sort of berries or anything like that. Salty water, so I'll talk about that soon. Normal plain water, apple cider vinegar, a little splash in your water, not going to raise your blood sugar, okay? You can use stevia and possibly erythritol or xylitol or monk fruit. None of those raise blood sugar levels, okay? So if you're only having like one black coffee and you're having a bit of that, that should be okay. However, there are some people who are purists and they will say have nothing but water. Everybody's different. I've experimented and there's easy ways to do this and hard ways to do this. So autophagy, this is autophagy. I'm gonna, rather than writing, figuring out how to do it and write words on the screen, I don't know how to do it. So I'm gonna do this. There you go. So autophagy, you want that to happen, okay? It's not just about weight loss, it's about the health benefits. So autophagy kicks in, they believe, between 18 hours and 36 hours. So with most women, we can ascertain that by 36 hours of fasting, their body has definitely kicked into autophagy. With men, they only need 18 hours of fasting. So there's a lot of people out there who do 18 hours standing on their head. For me, it's easy to do 18 hours. You literally just skip breakfast and you've done 18 hours because the fasting includes your sleeping time. It's literally from the time you last put something in your mouth, and that includes drinks that may have raised your blood sugar. You time it from that point, including sleep, and then you can work out how many hours, okay? So why is it that women take longer? Well, that would be because obviously our body is made to make children, and your body will need to hold on to fat or and things like that. This doesn't mean that it doesn't burn fat. It burns fat, but autophagy is a bit different than fat burning. Autophagy is the use of, it's the health benefit of fasting, okay? It's the use of all the junk that's in our blood that makes us sick. It's using up that. It's starting to use that as fuel, as well as the fat and the excess sugars that you may have stored, okay? So with women, once it gets to 36 hours, if we go beyond 36 hours, the benefits for us are astronomical. We exponentially have better benefits than men if we can go a bit longer. I would probably advise not to do too long. It's easily done. I've done 5 days, no food. It's quite easy. People have done a lot longer. I probably wouldn't, if you want to do it on a regular basis, I wouldn't be doing really long ones. I'd be doing like 48 hours to 72 hours cycles of that, rather than really long fasts, okay? But that's me, okay? And also you need to have an ample amount of body fat to do that, okay? So if you really got low body fat, I'd say don't do that. But I'm not a doctor, okay? I'd probably say if you've got very, very low body fat, but you want the health benefits, do 18 hours and just see how you feel. And you probably, this isn't going to make you gain weight. Number one, okay, so let's start. Let's just explain this very quickly. You can get all this information, by the way, from actual fasting experts, okay? But I'm going to tell you this. There is a difference between eating a low-calorie diet and fasting. Eating a low-calorie diet, so eating small meals often or eating lower calories on throughout the day, is detrimental compared to not eating at all for hours on end. So one is health giving and one is health depleting. They've done studies on this. Eating often smaller amounts of calories is more detrimental to your metabolism, whereas fasting does not badly affect your metabolism. It actually keeps it really good, okay? So eating low calories depletes your metabolism. Fasting for a long period of time of not eating does not deplete your metabolism. So all those people on The Biggest Loser who ate those really low calorie diets and they were exercising and they were eating like 3 times a day, but it was like small little meals and stuff like that, they've had the worst effect on their body compared to people who just don't eat for a couple of days. They actually get better benefits. Now, those of you who've had bariatric surgery, which means you've had your stomach stapled, most of your weight loss would have been from fasting, not the surgery. And I can tell you, doctors will tell you that if they know what they're doing. Because you have to fast before you do your surgery, which to shrink your liver. Then you're not going to be able to eat. You're pretty much vomiting most of the time after that surgery. And most of your dramatic weight loss would have come from fasting. So if you want to save money on doing surgery, do fasting, okay? So I would say, so once you know all of that, you've got to research, okay? You have got, I'm just doing this video just as an introductory thing and as a, so I am compliant and so that I can be accountable. So research, do not do this without researching. Do not use this video as the only piece of information. I'm going to put links in the description below. Do not ask where are the links. They're in the description below, okay? Research. Okie dokie. So the trick is, this is what Dr. Jason Fung says. This is what actually, let me tell you the names of the people I would suggest. These are the people that I would suggest you research, okay? These are the experts. Go to their YouTube channels, okay? So Dr. Jason Fung is number one. This is a nephrologist. He's amazing. His talks are amazing. He's got books about it. He doesn't just talk about fasting. He talks about obesity, cancer, all sorts of things. Dr. Berg is amazing. He is a ketogenic-based chiropractor, okay? However, he has done hours and hours and hours and hours of videos on fasting, intermittent fasting, refeeding, all of these things. Any topic you need, you can find from his YouTube channel. Dr. Sten Ekberg was an athlete, and he, I believe, I think he might be a chiropractor as well, but his His stuff is amazing because he gives you all the science and he explains everything very, very well. And he really dissects it as to why fasting works, what sort of diet, all sorts of stuff. Cole Robinson. Now, this is a bit of a maverick. He is a personal trainer. But this guy, I love Cole Robinson. He does what's called the snake diet. He created this. Cole Robinson he's a persona in himself, okay? So he does the whole really tough guy kind of drill sergeant thing. If you're sensitive, don't watch his videos. But I tell you what, if you love a laugh, watch his videos. Because this guy, just from him yelling, he'll make you go, whoa, okay, I need to pull my finger out, right? Because he calls you fatty and but the reason why I like Cole is because he experiments on himself. He will make himself fat and then experiment on himself on how quick he can get to lose the weight. And he is all about discipline and focus, and he has got it down pat. He knows what works and what doesn't. And he has got a formula called the snake juice. And what it is so he tells you the proportions of water. So you need clean water, very clean, pure water, whether it's spring water that you've bought from the store or a filter. I've got my Kangen water and I put shungite in it. You don't have to. And he puts a certain proportion of salt. Now he uses Himalayan pink salt. I would use the pink salt or Celtic sea salt and store it in glass. Don't store it in plastic. And he adds potassium. So it's sodium chloride, potassium chloride, is it? Potassium chloride. So this would be, you can find potassium chloride just like in your supermarket. It's usually sold as a type of heart salt or a light salt. Potassium chloride, he'll tell you the proportions. I think he adds magnesium in there, and I think a little bit of bicarbonate of soda. I think it's gross, let me tell you. It's disgusting. Okay, so it's a salty water, but when you are doing long fasts, it's a lifesaver. It will stop your body from cramping up. It'll stop you from feeling nauseated. It'll keep you from being dizzy. The electrolytes is the thing that is usually causing all of those symptoms, okay? So Cole Robinson is good for that thing if you don't want to watch his videos, but I'll tell you, his videos are great. So he's from the snake diet. Also, Chris James from A Healthy Alternative. That is in itself, they're on Facebook. I used to belong to the group before I got kicked off Facebook, A Healthy Alternative, and they're on YouTube. His videos, this guy, he's dedicated his whole life to fasting. He lives and Cole as well. Cole talks about a fasting focused lifestyle, because human beings were not meant to eat nonstop. We were not meant to eat all the time. The reason why we've got an obesity epidemic is not just because of the quality of food, but because everyone eats non-stop. They snack all the time. They think about food all the time. We are from civilizations that would have only eaten maybe once a day, and we actually do better on less food. Okay, our brain gets more focused, because if you think about what we would have had to have done to go and get food as hunter-gatherers, our brain would have had to have been really focused it wouldn't have just gone, oh, I'm so tired, I'm just going to sit in the cave and just wait for someone to bring me some food. You would have had to have been really clued in, and your intuition would have had to have been really sharp, and your brain would have had to have been sharp, because you had to go and find food, right? So your mental acuity would have increased with fasting. And that's natural human ability. It's the way our bodies are made. Most digestive issues. Now, I had they actually thought I had, well, they thought I had celiac disease, and they thought I had inflammatory bowel disease, like colitis. Since fasting on a regular basis, I don't have any of those issues. The issues were caused by regularly eating, which is what I did as a vegan, because I was constantly hungry, okay? And I'm not saying veganism isn't good. It is great for some people, not all people, okay? And not at every stage of your life, okay? I think it's great in some stages. That's just me, okay? Don't tell me in the comments how I didn't do it right, because I did it right, okay? That's just shut up. All right, so I'll just put that up again, but I'm going to put these in the links below. There is one doctor I forgot to mention, and that's Dr. Sebi, S-E-B-I. He passed away, but Dr. Sebi was curing people of things like blindness with fasting, okay? And he was he was a vegan, okay? So look, there's some people that are vegans that do this, and they are brilliant. And I think it's got to do with not blood type, but I think it's got to do with the ancestral, whatever your ancestors ate. Now, if you came from the Caribbean, you more than likely had tropical fruits mostly, and you ate some nuts and stuff. And of course, you're going to do great as a vegan. And that's where Dr. Sebi is from, okay? So I think that for some people, it works brilliantly, okay, those kinds of diets. But Dr. Sebi was very much, his stuff sort of carries on. In a lot of the African-American community in the US, a lot of them follow Dr. Sebi, and he has some amazing sort of, there's some videos and interviews and things like that and stories. You'll probably find a lot of his stories on A Healthy Alternative. There is a thing that he recommends, which is sea moss, which I'm ordering from my health food store. And sea moss is a great thing to take while you're fasting. It's kind of like turns like jelly. So it's a seaweed, and you soak it and you blend it up and you have a bit of it. And it's supposed to have all the vitamins and minerals in it. And it does all sorts of other stuff. Great stuff for your body. So here's the trick. This is what you got to do. Before I do that, let me, right, let's do this. So what you got to do is fast for as long as you can. If you want to start this after you've researched, fast for as long as you can right off the bat, and aim for at least 36 hours, not 24, 36. Try to aim for 36. Ideally, the first fast you do, Cole Robinson recommends that you do 3 days. Why is that? Because you want to deplete all your glycogen stores, and you want to get out of the habit of having sugary foods. And once you do that and you know what you're capable of doing, then the next time you do a cycle of fasting, it's a lot easier. Because when you get out of it, it's so hard to get back in, right? And you really got to get, I think that eating a very low carb diet helps you stick to it. That's my personal opinion, and my experience is the best. The kinds of fat loss that you can experience is astronomical. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm talking in 1 week, you could lose 9 kilograms. Okay, I'm serious. That's about 20 pounds or more than that. Okay, 22 pounds maybe not 22 pounds, but around about that. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, you can do it. It depends on how fat you are, how heavy you are. But I'm telling you, this is not a one-off thing. It's not a crash diet. It's not. It's a lifestyle. And the reason why I said there's spiritual aspects for doing this, there really is spiritual aspects for doing this. That's why I'm talking about it. I know I'm talking about it from a weight loss perspective, but it's more than that. So here's the other thing. What do you do? What do you drink? So there's the argument of pure water versus snake juice or electrolyte water. Now, don't go and buy the electrolytes from the shop, because they've got NutraSweet and aspartame and all of that in there, okay? And flavors and all sorts of things. Don't do that. You make the snake juice, that's your electrolyte water. It's not going to raise your blood sugar. So you either have pure water, which is something that Chris James recommends in A Healthy Alternative, and he's got a lot of people doing pure water fasts. Personally, I've done the pure water fast, and my God, I wanted to die. I wanted to die. It was hell. I was like, this is great. I'm doing great. And I came home after a walk, 40 hours in, and I'm like, holy fuck, I want to die. What the fuck just hit? I just didn't know what it was that hit me. And it was the electrolytes. I literally felt like, and I was like, oh, I'm going to die. What is wrong with me? And I had some salty water. I think I had some electrolytes, and I felt better. And I went, aha, that's the issue. Now, you don't have to feel like shit. Some people say, yeah, but you got to just get past that and then you feel amazing. I'd rather just not feel that and just do the salt water, okay? That's my opinion. So research both. There's another thing called sun water, and all that is literally is you're putting your water in glass bottles in the sun for 24 hours and then bringing them inside and cooling them down, and you're drinking the water. And for some reason, it seems to put sun energy in the water, and people are getting benefits from that. Healthy Alternative talks about that. Kangen Water is another thing. Now, Kangen Water is the machine I have. I've got a link in the description below. Kangen Water is a machine that electrolyzes your water. So I'd like to try this just with Kangen water. Maybe I don't need the electrolytes. Who knows? Let's see. Why not? So my suggestion to you finally is document everything. Otherwise, you won't stick to it. Just take it from me. Take it from me. Document everything. Everything. Otherwise, you won't stick to it if it's not written down. I'm telling you now. You won't. You think you will. You won't. Just document it. Get a diary. Get an all fancy diary. Do it. Go. This is it. I'm doing it. Do it. I'm telling you. And I'm talking to myself here. Okay, so document everything. So you've got to weigh yourself. First thing in the morning, weigh yourself. If that triggers you, don't weigh yourself. Just measure yourself. Get a measuring tape and measure yourself. Measure your waist, measure your belly, measure your fat old neck, measure everything. Measure your bust, under your bust. Measure everything. Fasting apps. Now listen, you go to your iTunes or your Google Play or whatever, and you find a fasting app. I'm not going to tell you which one. Don't write in the comments, which one do you recommend? Just find one. There's so many. There's so many. I'll tell you which one I got on my thing at the moment. It's called 0 Calories Fasting. Right. Hang on a second. So you can set a goal. So it's called 0 Calories Fasting app, I think. And it shows you, oh, don't worry, it's got like a little thing and it tells you when to start fasting, and it measures all sorts of stuff. Okay. It just keeps track of how long you've gone for. If you want to set a goal that you want to do cycles of 48 hours. Now, why would you do fasting regularly? You would do it to lose weight. You would do it to reverse diabetes. You would do it to reverse insulin resistance. You would do it to get onto a diet that's going to keep you healthy without the excessive amounts of carbohydrates. You would do it to get off certain foods you're addicted to. You could do it to get off alcohol. Serious. You could do it to get off anything, really. Fasting is amazing in so many ways. And then there's dry fasting and wet fasting, and that's a whole other story, okay? Dry fasting cures so many things, but you don't go and jump into dry fasting. It takes a lot of research and determination. So fasting apps are essential. Make sure you measure your water intake and use a journal. So measure your weight, document everything, your weight, your measurements. Use your fasting apps to document the time. It really keeps you motivated. Document your water intake, journal everything, and then you're going to do really well. Now, I'm going to probably, I don't know if I'm going to eat something tonight, but I'm going to time from So from when I last put something in my mouth is when the clock starts, and then you keep fasting, okay? My first aim is about 72 hours, and then from there I'm going to do certain cycles, okay? And I'm going to do cycles of certain number of hours. Look, for me, one meal a day doesn't cut it for me to lose weight. Everyone's different, probably because I'm getting older and it's just not cutting it, okay? And, I like to do things quickly. I just like to get it out of the way, and I like to see results. And if you want to see results straight away, then do it. And by the way, I found out that, this whole malarkey that the World Health Organization goes, oh, you should only lose, a pound a week maximum, or half a pound a week maximum, half a kilogram a week. That's bullshit. You know what? If you lose weight fast, beautiful, beautiful. And if you did it in a way that's sustainable, like fasting and not a low calorie diet, we're talking about extended fasting, not low calorie diet. If you did it like that, beautiful, beautiful. You got to your goal quicker than the idiots at Weight Watchers. Why not? Okay, why hit your head against a brick wall for years on end? Just do this. So if you're sort of going, why are you doing, a health diet expert, I've done it long enough. And actually, I was a weight loss consultant in a past life. And the other thing is, I think that this is part of spirituality and taking your power back, because you start doing this, you don't need to go to the doctor ever again, unless you've got a broken bone, okay? I'm telling you, it's health food. It's like your own medicine cabinet for free. Okay, you don't need medicine. Okay, I hope you liked that video. I don't know how long I went for, and I hope I didn't bore you to death, but I thought I'd bang these videos out today because I'm going to have a bit of a break from social media and I've got stuff to do. Okay, so good luck, and I hope you and I can get some results after this. I'll see you later.